Don't you worry, the clip's about to begin, but don't forget to subscribe. Or else, don't make me turn this website around.
Also, I have somebody on the phone who wants to join us, who is one of your volunteers, Sue in Pennsylvania. Welcome. You're on with Matt and Darrel.
Oh, hi, Sue.
Hi.
Cool. So
How are you?
Dr. Ray, I'm the support group leader in Philly.
I know who
Awesome.
you are exactly. She's been doing a great job. Had a long time. What's like 2 years, Sue?
No, I'm newer than that. We've had 6 meetings,
Oh, okay.
but they've been really great.
Oh, yeah. You've been really bringing them in.
So tell us about your experience with RFR.
Well, I don't have the religious background that mostly everybody else does. I was always an atheist. And while I have your ear, Matt, I have to tell you I have the biggest crush on you ever. This is the only chance I'll ever get to say it.
Well, thank you.
But but the thing that's so great about RFR is we're all volunteers. We've all found our way here on our own, and so I've made so many friends. And all of the people here are so dedicated. They have 100 reasons why they want to dedicate their time to RFR. So it's a great charity. So I do urge everybody that's listening. It is all volunteer, and it's wonderful. And we take everybody, and we're just booming. We're doing great. I think the strength in the support groups is because we will have 3 or 4 or 5 different religions represented in a meeting, and by hearing about each other's, it helps people untangle themselves. I think that's probably one of the strengths.
I think it's cathartic when you hear 4 or 5 other people going through the same thing, and they're from different help You can't help but help you reprogram, as you've noticed, Sue.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Sue,
yeah,
when
and
you're...
Dr. Ray.
No, go ahead. Continue, Sue.
Dr. Ray's made such a beautiful organization that there's so much background there with the chats and the resources and everything that we feel like we can go ahead and volunteer because he's got that whole thing behind us.
That is so. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love Darrel to pieces. I love Gail to pieces. I love the organization. I've been so thrilled for all the of all the relationships and all the organizations that I've worked with in that decade or so span. Granted, I'm on the board for American Atheists, and I work with the atheist community of Austin, and ACA is the biggest and most important thing in my life generally. But recovering from religion is absolutely the close second. And so when I talked about hearing that from people that I will never hear from again, that they are calling in to either volunteer or get help, I just, I don't know, Sue, you said you didn't come from a religious background, correct?
Yeah, I mean, my family would have been some kind of mild Protestant, but I never got dragged to church.
I'm just wondering, because for me, I'm not, so let's line up 3 atheists. Former Southern Baptist Matt, who's not particularly emotional and doesn't get verklempt, or maybe I shouldn't with the Yiddish, but another atheist who is far more emotionally attached to people and stories than I am, and then someone like you, Sue, who doesn't have that background. When you're talking to people who are calling in to get help or ask questions, I just wonder how, as somebody who didn't escape religion, how rewarding is it to you to be able to watch people do that? And does that even happen? Or are you more in the realm of, I'm going to have a conversation and try to help someone, but I don't necessarily know where they're going to end up?
I can tell you that the first time I told a young woman, you're doing great, you're on the right track, keep believing in yourself, we're all here for you, I was hooked. That was it. And it happens pretty much every week. And that's enough. Right there.
I love that, Sue, because so I don't tell this story very often because it can sound a little awful in the right context. The very first episode of Atheist Experience I ever did, I had been volunteering and working behind the scenes, and I was, friends with everybody. And Ashley and I had been talking, and I'd written a thing for about the 10 Commandments monument case. And Jeff D forgot that it was his week to host or to co-host the show and didn't show up. And so Ashley looked at me and said, "Hey, you want to do the show?" And I was like, "Sure." Now, I was somebody who didn't become a preacher because I was terrified of public speaking. I was not good at any of this or whatever, but I was like, yes, let me try it. I did the show. I went home and I told my roommate, who was also an atheist, who I've mentioned many times. And he's like, "You did the show? What do you mean?" And I said, "Yeah, Jeff didn't show up, so I did the show live." And he goes, "Well, how do you feel about it?" And I was like, "That's going to be my show in 6 months." Now, I did not mean, my roommate can vouch for this. I did not mean, "Oh, I'm taking over." I meant after one episode, I was like, I have to do this forever. I didn't care if I was the host, the co-host, whatever else. I've never felt more that I had to do something than I did after I went home after that first episode of Atheist Experience, March of 2004, 5, something like that. So I understand and appreciate what you're saying about getting that feeling of genuinely helping people, especially when you consider just how much damage religion is doing. I appreciate the call and the time, Sue, and thank you so much for volunteering. I'm going to ask you to hang up on us now, though.
That's right. You got it. Thank you, Matt. Good night, Dr. Ray.
Thank you, Sue. We have very extensive training, and Sue's been through the training, and because we are not a deconversion organization. We're here to help people wherever their journey takes them. And so we don't go in with any preconceived notions. Now, undoubtedly, they're already on their way out, or they wouldn't be talking to us probably. But we have no hidden agendas, and we really work hard not to do that.
It's really good. I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, there is one area I wanted to just let everybody know. Part of the reason we're doing the fundraiser is because we live off of our monthly donations. We don't have memberships. We don't have subscriptions. We don't even have a podcast that you can click and donate. So we're totally dependent upon people's goodwill every month to send us a little bit of money. Well, the thing is, we need to expand. And I told you, we've doubled in size 2 years in a row, but our budget hasn't. So we came to the conclusion, and Ethan was kind enough to jump out here and help us. But here's the deal. There are some enormous needs out there. And we all know about Freedom from Religion Foundation. We get confused with them all the time. But they're church state kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Well, let me tell you, we have got a challenge not unlike theirs that we're getting ready to push, but we can't push it without a budget. So here's the deal. There are counseling schools out there turning out master's level and PhD level counselors. Would you believe Pat Robertson's University, Regents University, or Oral Roberts University has a PhD program in psychology? And a year of that PhD program has to be studying Pat Robertson's theology that God sends hurricanes to Orlando for the gays. Well, that's just fucked up. And how are these schools getting away with this? So one of our challenges, if it hadn't been for COVID, we'd already be there. But one of our challenges in our growth plan for next year is to find ways to get under the skin of these schools who are unethically training people, and for people violating their own ethics. The Code of Ethics for the American Counseling Association says you may not bring your personal religion into the therapeutic relationship. It's pretty obvious and simple, and yet people do it all the time. What we want to do is we want to go after those people, and that's part of what the Secular Therapy Project will be doing in the next few years. So that's one area of growth for us.
You mentioned the Freedom from Religion Foundation, the FFRF, another organization. So it's funny they mentioned it because on this Friday at 10 a.m., I'm recording the Free Thought Today podcast with Dan and Annie Laurie, and it'll air, I don't know, sometime in March or something like that.
Say hi to him for me.
I absolutely will. And I will probably also mention recovering from religion while on the show, because it's just one of those things. I don't have this expertise. I am not a counselor. I am not necessarily the best person to talk with someone. I didn't have the same experience as other people. For me, it was rather easy when the switch finally clicked. And recognizing that the best thing I can do is direct people to that. So we'll keep doing that.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.